Chers auditeurs, je vous souhaite la bienvenue à votre rendez-vous musical Appassionato sur Radio Judaïka 90.2 FM, que vous pouvez également suivre en streaming sur notre site radiojudaïka.be. Nous avons l'immense plaisir d'accueillir aujourd'hui Anton Gerzenberg qui vient nous présenter un superbe album consacré au Ravel Reflection. Bonjour Anton.
Bonjour.
Alors je résume votre parcours dès en 1996. Vous grandissez dans un environnement profondément musical. Votre formation vous conduit d'abord à Hambourg auprès de Julia Suslin et de Julija Boczkowskaja, puis à Vienne chez Jan Jiracek von Armin. Vous vous perfectionnez auprès de Pierre-Laurent Aimard, Alfred Brendel, Robert Levin ou Bela Davidovich qui façonnent votre approche artistique et nourrissent votre curiosité pour la création contemporaine. Depuis votre victoire au concours Geza Anda en 2021 et votre reconnaissance comme Great Talent au Concerthaus de Vienne, votre réputation ne cesse de grandir. En 2024, le Martha Argerich Steinway Prize vient saluer votre parcours. Vous vous produisez déjà dans des lieux prestigieux et avec des orchestres de référence, entourés de partenaires musicaux d'exception. Vous défendez un répertoire vaste, du baroque aux créations contemporaines, et vous touchez le public par un jeu où virtuosité et sensibilité se rejoignent. Votre passion pour la musique d'aujourd'hui vous conduit à travailler avec des compositeurs contemporains et à fonder l'ERMA Ensemble, complément votre engagement dans la création et votre volonté d'ouvrir de nouvelles voies au piano. Je vous propose de débuter notre entretien en écoutant votre interprétation d'Islamé de Dmitri Balakirev. Islamé de Dimitri Balakirev dans l'interprétation de notre invité Anton Gerzenberg. For the comfort of our guests, this interview will take place in English. So tell us, Anton, do you come from a family of musicians?
Yes, my family, my mother, she is actually quite a well-known pianist, Lila Zilberstein. And like this, I was always exposed to music and a lot of musicians. My father, he is also a trumpet player. And my older brother is also a pianist and also a writer. So like this, I'm the youngest, but I know that I was always singing. I was always touching the piano with my tiny hands above my head. But so I managed like this to, I started with 5 to play the piano. But through that, the fact that we had so many scores at home, I could just, I could always read a lot of music. And so like this, I expanded my knowledge, I would say.
Did you have a choice to make something else of your life than being a professional pianist, or it was certain, it was decided from start that you would become a pianist?
I don't think it was decided in a way, but I think it was something that was in a way easy for me to do, like play the piano. After a certain point, somehow I really enjoyed just playing. I mean, I would never practice in that way that I wanted to play the piece that my teacher told me to play, but I always wanted to play everything else. And I think like this, and then I always played like this many pieces that were above my level, one could say.
So musical education was not a burden for you?
Practicing was still a burden because I was forced to do like one single piece or something like this, and I wanted to do everything at the same time. But the playing itself, yeah, it was not a burden in a way.
And practicing today is still a burden?
Actually, no, it's a joy because I can, especially when you're traveling a lot, it's difficult to find the time to practice. So if I actually have time to stay a bit at home and then work on everything that I'm supposed to do in the next few months, for example, as I was doing now, it's a joy, and it makes such a big difference. I think it's one of the difficulties of being a touring artist, that you don't get to stay at the same place. You don't always have the chance to practice if you have a travel that takes you for 2 days or something like this. So you arrive in the night and there is no practice room that you can go to, no piano to be prepared.
So tell us, what were the musical heroes of your youth?
No, I mean, of course it is, I think for piano, as for my whole generation and the generation before us and the generation after us, it's the reigning queen of the piano, Marta Agric, is one of the big inspirations, which for sure is also an influence why I wanted to record Gaspard de la Nuit on this CD, because it's
is a tribute to her.
I don't know if not really, but it's very, I think, because the recordings of her are so present, it's for sure is something that's ingrained in how one views this music nowadays, and how I view the music for sure also.
Among your teacher, we find Pierre-Laurent Aimard. In your opinion, what was the main message he tried to convey to you?
It was twofold. It was one way of how to make it happen, like technically, but then also music as an experience for both yourself and the listener, how it's built, how it's constructed, the sound. Like, for example, on the piano, that if you, or in general, if you play an octave, that in a way the upper note is already included in the bass note, yeah, because it's an overtone. So in a way, you're not trying to make 2 notes sound, but you're enriching one sound. And I think this is quite a concept that then gets done into all music. Yeah, of course, if it's extremely dissonant, it's still you have to try to make sense of how the sound can be so that the ear understands it. I think that's one of the main messages of. But I mean, there's many. There's also about how you think about music in sense of structure, in the sense of how organic certain things are. And we have it in Beethoven. I had so many lessons that it was so lovely to see how, like, out of one single cell, basically you get a whole piece of four notes, and with all of the different things, then you see how it grows, and then it becomes something else. And I think in Ravel, I think there's a lot about like the sound, about what is the kind of French sound. I remember even one of my first lessons, he taught me how to do a real French glissando, that you have to, like, in Ondine and Gaspard de la Nuit, that the one has to do in the left hand a big glissando, and it has to be with one note at a time, and not in a certain way. If you take more fingers, you have several notes at the same time sounding. But
So it's interesting.
It's interesting because you, as someone growing up in Germany, you don't know that kind of stuff.
Alors je vous propose de poursuivre en écoutant justement Ondine, extrait de Gaspard de la Nuit de Maurice Ravel. On dit un extrait de Gaspard de la Nuit de Maurice Ravel dans l'interprétation de notre invité Anton Gerzenberg, un extrait d'un nouvel album intitulé Ravel Reflections. So, Anton, you are winner of the Geza Anda contest. How did you get through this experience? How did you live this experience?
It was strange, and it was quite nice because, or to rephrase it, it was both nice and terrible because, of course, anyone that knows this competition knows that it's a very demanding, in the sense of that you have to prepare about at least twice as much repertoire as you in the end play, because almost each round you have to give several options for the jury to decide, and then at the end you only get to play the things that they decide. So, for example, in the second round we had 3 programs that we had to prepare. Well, not completely 3 different programs, but when I already knew that I passed, but I didn't know what I was going to play, I practiced everything, and then I had pain, and I wasn't sure if I would be able to play the second round. And similar thing happened then in the final. But it was during COVID, so we were all kind of separated. I mean, there's many host families that take care of the contestants of the competition. And I was very lucky. I was a bit outside of Zurich, but like this, I could really just focus on the practicing and on myself, which I think is important in competitions.
It was not too stressful?
No, I don't think it was stressful. It was stressful in the preparation for sure. I mean, I know many people that applied and then they dropped out, or also many people that normally would perform amazingly and they couldn't perform in the circumstances that they only got to know what to play in the first round 90 minutes before. We had a sealed letter and we open it and then you get to practice. I think one could see it, especially also in the last competition, where many very strong competitors were kicked out in the first round because they got chosen maybe the wrong Beethoven sonata. I only had to do 2 and they had to do 3. And they got chosen 1 to play.
So today you are coming with a new album called Ravel Reflection. How did you conceive the program of this album?
I was thinking how to honor this year's anniversaries of the Ravel and Johann Strauss. So this was conceived as a concert program. As we also, I mean, the CD was recorded in a live situation in a concert in Germany, and so I mean the first idea was even to have much more of a focus on Johann Strauss and Godowsky, because there's 3 paraphrases, but then on themes by Johann Strauss. But then I thought it was a bit too much waltzing for the audience and too many notes for myself. So I thought, okay, let's split the Ravel in 3 parts and 3 inspirations that he had. So we have in Gaspard de la Nuit, we both have the water theme and for Scarbeau, the theme of the most difficult piece of all time. How can we be more difficult? And I think everyone can think for themselves if they can hear if it's more difficult or not than Islamé. But so I wanted to present them both. And the same way, Godowsky is also maybe on the same level of difficulty. So, and then we have the jeu d'eau of both Ravel and Franz Liszt that are 2 kind of tone poems for the piano. And the Godowsky, I thought it would be nice to pair with Ravel, that was a big fan of the Viennese waltz, that he also composed La Valse. He always had quite often waltzes in his music. And here I'm pairing it with Valse noble et sentimentale.
Alors je vous propose justement d'écouter Jeu à la Villa d'Este de Franz Liszt. Vous êtes sur Radio Judaïka et vous écoutez Appassionato, votre rendez-vous musical. Jeu à la Villa d'Est de Franz Liszt dans l'interprétation de notre invité Anton Gerzenberg qui vient nous présenter un nouvel album. Alors Anton, nous avons comme tradition d'offrir à notre invité la possibilité de faire découvrir à nos auditeurs un morceau de son choix. So Anton, we have a tradition of giving our guests the opportunity to share with our listener a recording of their choice. What would you like to share with our audience?
I have been obsessed somehow for the last year with a recording by Joni Mitchell. The album is called Coyote. That was a wonderful album from the 70s. And I would like to present the song Amelia from it.
From Joni Mitchell.
Yes.
On l'écoute maintenant.
I was driving across the burning desert when I spotted 6 jet planes leaving 6 white vapor trails across the bleak terrain. It was the hexagram of the heavens, it was the strings of my guitar. Amelia, it was just a false alarm. The drone of flying engines is a song so wild and blue. It scrambles time and seasons if it gets through to you. Then your life becomes a travelogue of picture postcard charms. Oh, Amelia, it was just a false alarm. People will tell you where they've gone. They'll tell you where to go, but till you get there yourself, you never really know. Where some have found their paradise, others just come to harm. Oh, Amelia, it was just a false alarm. I wish that he was here tonight. It's so hard to obey his sad request of me to kindly stay away. So this is how I hide the hurt as the road leads cursed and charmed. I tell Amelia it was just a false alarm. A ghost of aviation, she was swallowed by the sky or by the sea. Like me, she had a dream to fly, like Icarus ascending on beautiful foolish arms. Amelia, it was just a false alarm. Maybe I've never really loved. I guess yes, that is the truth. I've spent my whole life in clouds at icy altitudes, and looking down on everything, I crashed into his arms. Amelia, it was just a false alarm. I pulled into the Cactus Tree Motel to shower off the dust, and I slept on the strange pillows of my wanderlust. I dreamed of 747s over geometric farms. Dreams, Amelia, dreams and false alarms.
Nous venons d'écouter Amelia de Johnny Mitchell. Il s'agissait du choix de notre invité, Anton Gerzenberg. Votre émission de musique classique Appassionato touche ainsi à sa fin. Merci beaucoup, Anton, d'avoir accepté notre invitation.
Merci à vous.
Merci à Clément Villensen d'avoir assuré la technique de cette émission. N'oubliez pas qu'Appassionato est diffusé sur les ondes et le site de Radio Judaïka les lundis à 15h, les vendredis à 13h et les dimanches à 9h. Merci, chers auditeurs, de nous avoir écoutés. À la semaine prochaine. D'ici là, portez-vous bien.